Hi, I'm Senilex and I'm an ice tank in Odyssey, and I thought I'd show you guys my ice tank build, which I've been using for a long time now. So first I'll show you some of my skills, which I spend my points on. First of all, I max out my defense innates. Defense can only be gained by gear and skill points, so that's why I think it's very important to actually make use of the defense innates when you can. Secondly, I will then max out my dominance innates. Dominance will increase your shield strength, so your dominance also gets doubled when you're in tank stance, so your shield strength is based on 100% of your dominance score and 100% of your resto score combined. So once I've done my defense and dominance, I will then max out my restoration innates to increase my shield strength even further. Then after that, any skill points I have left over, I just pop them in health. So just to recap, I max out my defense first, followed by dominance, followed by restoration, followed by health. I do also spend a few points in flight. That's my movement, downdraft, and the stun and restraint resistant skill points. If we look at my power trees, we'll look at the storm tree first of all. It's fairly straightforward. You've got your inescapable storm, arctic gust, down to bitter winds. You've got your freeze wave, and then your shatter restraints. Onto the cryogenic tree. Cold snap, frost snipe, ice bash, reflection, ice boulder, and winter ward. Onto the iconics. Hard light shield I spend, intimidating gaze, nanoweave armor, and powerful resistance. So, how do I use it on the loadout? Pretty standard, to be quite honest. Reflect, inescapable storm, shatter restraints, hard light shield, bitter winds, and winter wards. I'll show you the loadout in action shortly, but for that, let me show you the tactical mods and equipment mods I use in my gear. In my weapon, I use the tactical mod absorption adapter. So weapon attacks have a chance to activate a shield, and to be honest, the shield doesn't withstand a huge amount of damage, but it's better than nothing. Moving down to my head, I use a dominance and health expert. Yes, it is a blue mod in a red socket, and I'll explain that shortly on why I do that. Moving down to my neck, I use a tactical mod fortified blocking, which is probably the most essential tactical mod in the game there is for a tank, because it greatly increases your defense when blocking. Moving down to my back, I use dominance and health in my blue socket, and breakout protection just gives you a slight increase to your defense when breaking out for several seconds. My chest, I use restoration and health for my yellow socket, and for my tactical mod I use quick healing. There is a reason why I use restoration and health, and I'll cover that shortly. My legs, again my yellow sockets, I use restoration and health. Nothing worthy to note on your face. Onto my shoulders, again it's a red socket, but I use a blue mod, dominance and health. On my hands I use a dominance and health mod and a regenerative shielding tactical mod. Waist, I just use a standard dominance and health blue socket. And again on my feet I use a dominance and health with the Deadly Block tactical mod. Both my rings I use blue dominance and health. Onto my utility belt then. First of all I have a supply drop, an orbital strike, mass provocation agent, and then finally a dazing device. If we take a look at my stats of my current gear, my health is 7,987, my defense is 6,747, my restoration is 1,875, and my dominance is 1,506. This means my shield will mitigate 3,381 worth of damage. I wanted to go back and explain why I use a blue mod, dominance and health, in a red socket for my head and shoulders gear. Most people tend to put something like dominance and might or dominance and precision in there to get the 49 health affinity bonus. However, if you ignore the affinity and put something like dominance and health in, you'll be gaining your 19 dominance, which is obviously double to 38, but you're also gaining 95 health. But then we have to remember we are not getting then the 49 health affinity, but it still works out that you're getting more health. So if we take the figure of 95 health minus the affinity that you would be getting if you used a red mod, and that will actually give you a plus of 46 health. So that's why I use it. Statistically it works out that you actually get more health. I have no concerns about losing out on any might or precision of any mods that you may use in there, as I'm a tank and I'm not concerned with damage. So I hope that makes sense. And whether they will change it, I have spoke to one of the devs about this. Is it an oversight? Are they actually going to change the affinity on their head and shoulders to be some kind of percentage instead of a set stat, where these expert mods are actually clearly better to use and mix and match that way? Onto the yellow sockets, I know a lot of tanks will use dominance and power. I personally prefer to use restoration and health, as power isn't such a big issue for me, and I'd rather get two stats, which would be more beneficial to me than just one if you use kind of dominance and power. So that's why I use restoration and health. One, it gives my health increase, and restoration, it increases my shield strength. I wanted to comment a bit on my loadout and my shield choices, and perhaps when to use kind of certain shields. Obviously you've got your reflect, which will absorb 10,000 damage plus 100% of your dominance score, or it will last up to 6 seconds if that value has not been met. Reflect is a great power to clip Inescapable Storm with. It just gives you that protection as you're getting the attention of the boss or the ads. Is also handy to have in those kind of oh shit moments, perhaps when a healer goes down. And you just need that little bit of reassurance. Then Reflect is a great power for that. Shatter Restraints is another great shield to quickly hit. The animation time isn't very long at all, and again it's another great shield to clip with Inescapable Storm. I also tend to use Shatter Restraints as well as Winter Ward. So if you get knocked down, I'll pop either one of those to get straight back on my feet and into the fight. It it's a lot quicker to pop one of those than having to wait for your team to actually get up. I do also like to use Hard Light Shield, perhaps not as much as Shatter Restraint or Reflect, but it is definitely nice to have another shield which works off 100% of your dominance and restoration score combined. It can last longer than the other shields if the mitigation value has not been met. Bitter Winds is one of my favourite shields, especially when you're surrounded by a group of mods. You can pop that, and it can just knock them away from you, give you a bit of breathing space. Winter Ward, you see, I just popped that. Again, as I was saying earlier, it's a great power to. It's a breakout power, so it will quickly get you back onto your feet and into the thick of things again. So some of the shields I just don't use purely as shielding, but I use the other parts of them, whether it's for control resistance or a breakout. Winter Ward sometimes I feel it can leave you quite vulnerable as you're activating it, so you do need to be careful perhaps when using that shield. I also use the mass provocation agent consumable. It's always nice just to pop that sometimes if you want to get the attention of a large amount of mobs. If you don't particularly fancy using Inescapable Storm. And then finally, I use a dazing device. It does a fairly decent damage, but it also can briefly stun any mobs which is around you. I hope this proves useful for you, and thank you for watching.